You see, it was the Isle of Patmos during biblical days that in Ephesus they would put prisoners on a boat and they would take them out to the Isle of Patmos and drop them off and leave them to die if they can't swim 4 miles back to Ephesus. John, they take him out to the Isle of Patmos. They drop him off. They treat him like a hardened criminal. But the prior verses tell us that all John did was be faithful to the call and cause of Jesus Christ. That's all he did. It wasn't fair. Regardless of where you fall on the spectrum of life tonight, we all have one thing in common, that we all need God to come to us tonight. Every one of us need a visitation from God. Oh, that's easy for us to preach when it's bad times, isn't it? I mean, all preachers do. It's hard times. Trust in the Lord. But can I tell you, just like if you're in your lowest valley, if you're on your highest mountain, friend, you still need a divine visitation from heaven tonight. You still need God to show up no matter where you are. We step back into the story just for a moment. If anybody had a right to sit down and look up to God and say, God, this isn't fair, it was John. There John is on the Isle of Patmos, worst days of his life. Done everything he could to get to God. When we can't get to God, he will come to us. He'll come to you. I see Jesus showing up on the worst days of John's life. John said, when I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, watch the first words from Jesus. Do not be afraid. Lynn, you don't know what I'm going through. Do not be afraid. The Comforter is in the house. Jesus walked to him and placed his right hand on him. I'm going to pause and give you personal opinion. I believe the moment Jesus touched John, he knew who it was. He knew who was touching him. John knew that touch. I know that touch. Anybody in this house know the touch of heaven? Do you know the touch of Jesus? I want to tell you, I believe before Jesus ever spoke, before he ever said a word, when he touched John, there had to be a comfort, there had to be a peace that came over him, because he knew on the worst days of his life, his Savior had not forsaken him. He just touched him. Can I tell you, this is what revival is all about? I'm preaching right now, but I'm praying the Lord walking through this church, just laying his right hand on people in this house and saying to you, do not be afraid. One touch from Jesus can change everything. Not only can one touch from Jesus change everything, one word from Jesus can change everything too. The Lord is still touching his people, and the Lord is still speaking to his people. Do not be afraid.